50,000 rupees compensation for each COVID death. Centre tells Supreme Court the compensation amount, but says the states will be footing the bill. Compensation claims to be paid within 30 days. Now, UK accepts India vaccine Covishield, but it's the vaccine certificates that is under question. Vaccine racism, says India, and also saying there's nothing wrong with the CoWIN app. Same port, same company, heroin brought in June 2. Documents show huge Afghan consignment coming in June. Who are husband-wife importers shielding in this massive heroin haul? Mamata Banerjee campaigns for her election, says to the Prime Minister and Home Minister, won't let India be a Taliban state. BJP central leaders campaign for the BJP candidate meanwhile. And it is Navjot Singh Sidhu versus Captain Amrinder Singh like never before. Captain Amrinder Singh, not the CM anymore, but says will not let Sidhu win. Also says very upset with the Gandhi siblings. Hello and welcome. You're watching NETV 24/7. I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor. Those are the headlines at this hour. Let's begin with the top story. The families of those who died of COVID will receive 50,000 compensation. Centre took this decision and informed the Supreme Court today, but the states will have to foot the bill and all claims will be settled in within 30 days. But what are the absolute numbers? What will be the criteria to certify that one actually did die of COVID? Will the states agree to this? All this still remains in the dark, but meanwhile, let's show you some reactions of what some of the family members of those who lost their loved ones have to say about this decision.
In an affidavit filed in the Supreme Court, the centre says everyone who's lost their lives due to COVID will be compensated and the families will receive 50,000 rupees for each COVID-19 death. Now, of course, there'll be discussions on that figure, the amount, but of course, it's also a start because in several states, there is compensation for COVID-19, but in some states like Maharashtra, for example, the police are getting 50 lakh if they've died on duty during COVID. And I have with me two people who've lost family members due to COVID. First is Mr. Adil Khan and then of course Mr. Zubair Qazi. But आपसे जानना चाहेंगे कि रकम जो बताया गया है उसको लेकर आप क्या कहेंगे? क्या हुआ था आपके परिवार से? कौन कोविड की वजह से किसका डेथ हुआ है?
मेरे पिताजी का दिलदार खान का डेथ हुआ है कोरोना की वजह से। तो अभी संजोग हॉस्पिटल में बेटी में, तो इसके लिए मुआवजा जो भी है कम है।
जुबैर काजी जी, आपके परिवार से कौन किसका
डेथ हुआ था 10 जून को? 3-4 हॉस्पिटल में लेके गए, किसी ने उनको एडमिट नहीं किया। फाइनली जेजे ने एडमिट किया है, लेकिन अल्टीमेटली वो रात को 10:30 बजे डिक्लेयर डेथ ऑफ कोविड-19।
और ये रकम जो है आपको क्या लगता है
मिलना चाहिए? जब सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ऑर्डर है तो गवर्नमेंट शुड रिस्पेक्ट द जुडिशरी, और वो रकम मिलना चाहिए। अभी तक मिली नहीं है हमको, लेकिन मिलना चाहिए।
Narendra Giri, head of the Akhada Parishad, was his sudden death murder or suicide? Well, investigations are on and we only hope that the truth will come out. But the prime accused in this case is saying that he's an easy target, and politics on this matter is of course unrelenting, with polls not very far away. Here's all you need to know about this.
The seer who allegedly died by suicide being laid to rest. Head of the Akhada Parishad, a massive governing body of the saints, Mahant Narendra Giri's body was buried in the compound of his ashram. This, according to his wish penned down in what is purportedly a suicide note. Later today, the main accused, his disciple Anand Giri, was roughed up while being produced in the court. The letter, which authorities claim has been written by Narendra Giri moments before his death, says the following. There are two different set of letters written. One purportedly written on the 13th and one on the 20th of September. The dates have been cut and changed to the 20th which is the day of the death. The letter talks about harassment by disciple Anand Giri, Adya and Sandeep Tiwari. The letter says that Anand Giri was planning to release a fake video of him with a woman. The truth would have come out anyway, but the Mahant would have lost respect. He says that he's ending his life because of humiliation and he has been backstabbed by his own. The letter names Balbir Giri as successor, and the letter also reflects inability to die by suicide earlier. But the UP police right now is only investigating an abetment to suicide angle, having arrested 3 of his aides, the flamboyant young sadhu Anand Giri, Adya and Sandeep Tiwari. The opposition though feels the suicide theory does not add up. SP Chief Akhilesh Yadav in a tweet demanded a judicial probe instead of the UP police probe. Narendra Giri is said to have been close to the Yadavs. So was this a death by suicide or a death by murder? Opposition greets the suicide theory with skepticism. Doubts are being raised whether the Mahant wrote the suicide letter or not. All eyes are now on the findings of a post-mortem report which has been initiated by a high-level panel of 5 doctors. Bureau Report, NDTV.
Now, after the DRI seized 3,000 kgs of heroin and estimated to be nearly 21,000 crore at the Mundra port in Gujarat by the Adani group, really, a couple whose name in the import-export license was taken have been arrested in Chennai. They have a registered address in Vijayawada. But what exactly is this narcotic trail looking like? What is the role of this couple as well? The next story explores.
There could be more than 3,000 kgs of heroin that's been smuggled into India. Investigating agencies are probing this after the 15th September seizure in Gujarat's Mundra port. Sources say a similar consignment came in June 2021 of 24 tons, marked as talc stone, via the same Gujarat port and is said to have been transported to Delhi. Security agencies are trying to find out if heroin was smuggled in that import consignment as well. Now the drug trail is widening. Investigation has revealed that the drug consignment, concealed as semi-processed talc stones, was exported by Kandahar-based company Hassan Hussain Limited in Afghanistan, and it was shipped through Bandar Abbas port in Iran to Mundra port in Gujarat, imported by Ashi Trading Company, located in Vijayawada, but owned by a Chennai-based couple. And the agency suspects that this consignment too was intended to be delivered in Delhi.
There is in fact said to be a third consignment that came through the same Mundra port and again marked as semi-processed talcum stone. The common link between the 3 shipments is that all of them had the same number on the country of origin certificates, which are now thought to be fake. But interestingly, this one had a different Afghani supplier and this time a Delhi importer.
While the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence is tight-lipped on the ongoing pan-India operation to nab the big players involved in the syndicate, sources have told NDTV that the Vijayawada-based company was only a name lender and the arrested couple may not have known about the heroin consignment that was put below 2 layers of talc stones in powder. Investigators say the place of origin for the consignment is Nimruz province in Afghanistan, where talc is not produced. 5 more individuals, including 4 Afghan nationals, have been arrested. The address of Ashi Trading Company that was on the consignment bill is this house in Vijayawada, belonging to Govindaraju Taraka. Her daughter Vaishali and son-in-law Sudhakar were arrested in Chennai on Saturday.
The couple Sudhakar and Vaishali had got GST registration in August 2020 and used their export-import license in order to import the consignments, and they were paid 30,000 rupees for every container and 3 lakh rupees for customs clearances and transport to Delhi. They were in fact expecting 2 more consignments to arrive shortly.
1,75,000 crore के 25,000 किलो हेरोइन ड्रग्स कहां गए, जो तथाकथित तौर से जून में आए थे इसी अडानी पोर्ट से.
Adani Group, which operates the Mundra port, says, "We have no policing authority over the containers or the millions of tons of cargo that pass through the terminals in Mundra or any of our ports."
Sources in central agencies say that the large seizure of drugs being reported in India and Sri Lanka in recent time shows that the drug syndicate is now relying more on maritime routes, and it's a matter of concern. Government sources have told NDTV that keeping security implications in mind, this case will be handed over to NIA from DRI soon. With Uma Sudhir and camera person Pooja Arya, This is Arvind Gunasekar for NDTV.
Meanwhile, news coming in that CBI has unearthed a big racket involving the NEET examination and even booked the Maharashtra-based coaching centre and students. The racket allegedly used proxy candidates to crack the NEET exam for the candidate, and about 50 lakh per applicant was the money asked for it as well. Let's cut across to Arvind Gunasekar joining us for the latest. Arvind, details please.
Yeah, Sonal, the Central Bureau of Investigation has registered a case against a Mumbai-based coaching center. So what our sources in the Central Bureau of Investigation are telling NDTV is that based on a source-based information, they registered a case against this particular Mumbai-based coaching center, and based on their investigation, they have got to know that this particular Mumbai-based coaching center, they approached all these aspiring candidates, and then they got somewhere around 50 lakhs from them, assuring that they will get their candidates securing an admission in a government medical college through deploying a proxy candidate for the NEET examination. And when we asked our sources how this particular modus operandi was deployed, what we are being told is that this particular coaching center, they got the student data from this particular candidate, and then they manipulated it. They tried to use the different photographs, and then they sent the proxy candidates to write the exam instead of this candidate, the candidate that applied for the NEET exam, through which they tried to secure admission in government medical college. So what we are also being told is that though the agency got the information before the examination, they deployed officers to nab all these proxy candidates, but these proxy candidates did not turn up at the examination center, and that's why they waited for all these 8 days, and then they conducted searches. And what we are now being told is that they have also made some arrests in this particular matter.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us for the very latest, Arvind. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reached the United States and headed for a packed couple of days of diplomatic engagements. But the spotlight is going to be in his first in-person meeting with the US President Joe Biden and also the Quad Summit. These are the first reactions coming in from there.
The COVID-19 pandemic has been an unprecedented disruption, and it is not yet over. Much of the world is still to be vaccinated. That is why this initiative by President Biden is timely and welcome. We have shared medicines and medical supplies with over 150 countries. 2 indigenously developed vaccines have received emergency use authorization in India, including the world's first DNA-based vaccine.
All right, back home now. 5 men who claim to be from a group called the Hindu Sena were arrested by the police for vandalizing the official residence of Hyderabad MP Asauddin Owaisi in Delhi's Ashoka Road. The incident took place on Tuesday evening, and reacting to that, Mr. Owaisi said that the mob raised communal slogans and threatened to kill him as well.
"24 hours later at MP Asauddin Owaisi's residence here in the national capital. This is his residence and this is the back lane of the residence. Mr. Owaisi claims to be at least 13 people who were here present last evening. Now, since this morning, the update in the matter is that at least 6 CRPF security personnel have been posted at his residence. What we are also learning is that at least 300 people live in this area, which is also called as a VIP area in Delhi's Ashoka Road. Like I mentioned, the Prime Minister's office, the Delhi Police headquarters, the Election Commission's headquarters, all surrounded here at the MP's residence. But what we are learning is that the caretakers of this house who've been living here and working for Mr. Owaisi for the last 40 years, their windows of their particular portion of the house too was hit at and pelted with stones. There were red brick stones that were pelted inside this house, and of course slogans that were screamed at Mr. Owaisi. The slogans were Jai Shri Ram, Jai Mahadev and Ovesi Bahar Ao. These were what the people who had gathered here, who claimed that they were from the Hindu Sena group, came here, and they're also learning that they ferried here to Mr. Ovesi's residence in a cab, very casually got off at this particular location and started shouting and chanting slogans of Jai Shri Ram and Jai Mahadev and Ovesi Bahar Ao. People gathered here had gone live on Facebook while creating this tension and this chaos and this moment of fear, because there is also a family. The caretakers are a family here who also have children. They showed us the red brick stones that were pelted inside, which is still lying inside. With camera person Shashikant Jha in Delhi, Shanakshi Chakravarti for NDTV.
Women should be allowed to take the National Defence Academy exams this year. That's what the Supreme Court told the centre today, rejecting their request to defer it to the next year. They said, and I quote now, that we gave hope to the girls. We cannot deny them of that hope now. The no exam today, exam tomorrow approach would go against the aspirations of young women. Also adding, interestingly, that there is, because the centre said there is too little time to make arrangements, to that the Supreme Court said the armed forces have dealt with very difficult situations and emergency. They are trained in dealing with emergency, and they will be able to deal with this as well.
In a dramatic turn, the Supreme Court today said that the first batch of girls should appear for NDA or National Defence Academy exams this year itself on 14th November. Just a day earlier, the centre had said that it would do so only in May next year.
In today's hearing, the Supreme Court told the centre, "We gave hope to the girls. Can't deny them of that hope now. If they appear in exams in May 2022, then the intake will take place in January 2023. Can't delay things by a year." The Supreme Court also said the no exam today, exam tomorrow approach will go against the aspirations of young women. When the centre said time is too short, we need to make preparations, the Supreme Court responded by saying armed forces are trained in dealing with emergencies. They will be able to deal with this. Women's entry into NDA is the gateway to a permanent commission in the armed forces.
It would be great opportunity to those girls who had just now passed 12, because they do not have to wait for a long period, 2 or 3 years. They just have to crack the exams and they have to give the SST, and then they will go in NDA and they will have their trainings.
Enough of time has been wasted in past many years where we have spoken about equal opportunity and why NDA should not be open for girls, and now this year just wasting it for preparing for the girls for the infrastructure so that they can accommodate them well next year. We can do it the same this year also.
The government says that gynecologists, sports medicine experts, nursing staff and female attendants would also need to be in place for women cadets. The next hearing of the case will take place in the 3rd week of January next year, when the government will update the court on the results of the exam. In New Delhi with camera person Prem Singh, this is Sukirti Dwivedi for NDTV.
To West Bengal now. On the very second day of the job, the BJP's new Bengal chief had a run-in with the police as the campaign for the new destination for Khela Hobe, Kolkata's Bhawanipur area, is now set to heat up. The candidate there, where a by-poll is actually happening, is the Chief Minister herself, and campaigning against her is a BJP candidate getting the support of several central ministers even in this election.
Mamata Banerjee hit the streets herself with her first meeting in Bhawanipur's Khidarpur area, where she set a clear agenda.
हम खेलेंगे, हम लड़ेंगे, हम जीतेंगे और बीजेपी को हम देश से हटाएंगे। ये हमारा वादा है। देखो नरेंद्र मोदी जी, देखो अमित शाह भैया जी, मैं तो आपको भैया कह सकती हूँ कि ये हमारा काटीसी है, लेकिन ये बात मत समझो कि इंडिया को अब तालिबान बना देंगे और सबको गाली देंगे, ये हम नहीं करने देंगे।
Mamata Banerjee launching a vigorous campaign for September 30, elections just days away. But what she has made clear in her fiery speech is she is fighting in the Bhawanipur constituency, sure, but her eyes are firmly set on New Delhi in 2024. Sheer coincidence, on his first outing as BJP Bengal's new boss, Sukanta Majumdar also made Bhabanipur his pit stop, going door to door for his candidate Priyanka Tibrewal, but ending up locking horns with the police, apparently because he was campaigning too close to the Chief Minister's house with too many people.
पिछली बार लोकसभा चुनाव के समय ममता बनर्जी अपनी बूथ में 200 से ज्यादा वोटों से पीछे थी। इसलिए कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि बीजेपी के लोग वहां ना जाए और वो वोट जीत जाएंगे। इस बार ममता बनर्जी को हम दूसरी बार हार का जो मजा होता है उनको चखवाएंगे।
With the BJP brigade fanning out in strength and Mamata Banerjee tossing out a high decibel challenge, Bhabanipur has suddenly turned high voltage. With G.D. Shankar and Anirudh Tripathi, Vanadeepa Banerjee, NDTV.
All right, that's all we could pack in this edition. Stay tuned to NDTV. Lots more coming up.